going to record this meeting. So the meeting is being recorded for those that will not be able to join. But yeah, Mr. Douglas, I would say you have the podium now. You can just give us an overview of, who you are first before you can now, go into the Canadian pathway. Okay.
Yeah. So my name is Douglas Kofi. I'm originally from Ghana. I've been in the U.S. for a little over 15 years now. I originally came as an F1 student to the U.S. As an international student, and then I went to college. Went to join the military, the U.S. Army, got citizenship through the Army, and then I went to law school and started practicing immigration law. And in my immigration practice, we specialize in employment-based visas and also family-based petitions and removal defense, that is deportation defense. Those are the three primary areas that I focus on. And recently, we've we've started working on recruiting nurses, and so that is a little bit about myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So let me just explain the group of people we have here. So everyone that is on this meeting is trying to transition to Canada. They've all started the process. They are halfway into the process. Most of them have gotten, a good number of them have gotten the provisional license, the conditional license. And the major problem is now that there are so many information out there in YouTube that is contradicting the process that they are following, about immigrating to Canada. So I know that you know more about this pathway to Canada. So that's why I invited you today to speak to them, to tell them about the process that they can get through in order to be able to get themselves in Canada. And if there is any, just every disclosure that they need to know about this whole process, I believe you are free to just let them know how the process is going to turn out, from your own standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of information out there on YouTube and the internet about immigrating to Canada. The thing that you have to keep in mind when you're listening to these people is that those information that they're giving you is coming primarily from the internet themselves. So they go and they find some piece of information on the internet, and then they regurgitate it to you. Most of the people that are giving out this information are not lawyers, so they're not even qualified to be giving this information. The process to Canada is much simpler than the US. And I think that's why there's a lot of misconception about it, because it's so simple. Um, in fact, I mean, all you need to do is that you have to get licensed in the province, and then you apply for the expressway entry, which is the visa to get into Canada. Now, the expressway or the express entry is based on a point system. And so there's different points for different things. So for example, there's I think 25 points for your age, and then there's points for your education, points for if you speak a second foreign language, if you have family in Canada, different points for different factors. And so the minimum that the point system is out of 100, and the minimum for you to be considered for express entry is 67. So you need a minimum of 67 points to be considered for express entry. One of the ways that you can get the most points is if you have a job offer based on an LMIA. Now, an LMIA just means the labor market impact assessment. And for you to get that, the employer has to do a labor market impact assessment, and the job offer has to be based on that LMIA. Or you can also get a PNP, which is a provincial nomination program, which is the specific province in Canada would give you a nomination, which if you get that nomination, I think you get, automatically like 50 points or something like that. It's a really big point system. And so those two things, if you get those two things, you're basically guaranteed entry, barring any kind of, uh, immigration, violations in the past. So if you've never applied for a Canadian visa, if you've never been found to violate any kind of Canadian immigration law, those would be the only things that would stop you from getting into the program. But it's a very simple program, very straightforward, and these are things that you could look up yourself, and the most trusted sources is the Canadian government website or the website for the specific provinces, not somebody on YouTube just telling you what they think.
All right, thank you so much for that. A lot of people are saying they can't hear us, the microphone, is off. Please, on the comment section, if you can hear us, please just say yes on the comment section. We'll know if the majority of people here are hearing us. It means that it might just be the persons that are just one or two persons that are not able to connect their device properly. So what you would do is, if you're using a headphone, try to remove the headphone. Try to click on the microphone button on your device, on your Zoom app. That would give you the ability maybe to just hear us, and also to talk to us maybe if we have that opportunity. All right, because most times when you click on that microphone icon, then it gives you that ability, it gives you that opportunity to say use your microphone or something like that, so that you can all hear us. We want everybody. Okay. I hope everybody is hearing me now. Okay. I can see a lot of yeses on the comment section. So keep that yes coming. As the yes is coming, I have another question to ask Mr. Douglas. And after that question, I will give opportunity to people who are here that are facing one or two challenges in the process. You can ask him a question, a concern, something challenging that you're facing that you feel like we should talk about today. You can ask him, and then we'll get that answered. I don't know how many questions we're going to have, but I believe we can just take a few questions. Then any other question that you have, we would try and see if we can bring him back, because he's very, very busy. He's a very busy person. So we'll try and see if we can bring him back on the program. But on Wednesday next week, we're going to be having people from the Nova Scotia Health System, Nova Scotia Health Service. So they will be coming to our program, and this program is specifically for those that have already gotten their conditional license. So we're going to be telling them about how to get a job in Canada, how to be able to, actually the job issue that has been a problem. I think by that, the virtue of that connection, we should be able to demystify the whole, mystery about, getting a Canadian job while still in US. So, Mr. Douglas, my next question to you is it possible for people who are not in Canada to be able to secure a job in Canada, even without having them, like having written the NCLEX, or even before coming to Canada? Is it possible for them to get that job offer? Mr. Douglas? Oh, I think I muted him again. I'm so sorry. Where is he? Let's see. I'm looking for you. Hello? Maybe he went off. Okay. So while he's coming, while we're waiting for him to come back on the meeting, I think somehow he got disconnected. Let me see if he's in the waiting room. All right. So while we're waiting for him to get back on the meeting, I want to ask you, if you have any question about the Canadian process, please kindly put it in the comment section, and we would get them answered as they come. So we'll get them answered serially, just the way we receive them. Let me see. All right. Oh yeah, I think he got disconnected. He's in the waiting room. He's coming back. All right. So put your questions, if you have any question, in the comment section, and we'll try as much as possible to get it answered.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I think we got disconnected at some point, but thank you for explaining that very process of getting into Canada. And then the other question that I have is if you are not in Canada, is it possible for you to secure a job without you being in Canada, like physically being in Canada?
Well, the answer is yes. It depends on the specific employer. So, for example, we have the meeting or the webinar, I guess, if you would, with the Nova Scotia Health Service, the CEO and the director of recruiting. We're going to have a meeting with him and the candidates on August 30th. And she's going to go over the process, the hiring process. The Nova Scotia College of Nursing has specifically designated a program for nurses who are licensed in 7 different countries to get licensed in Canada. And then if they go through that way, then the health service would offer them jobs. And they realize that you're not in the country. So when they offer you jobs, you have to go through the visa process. And so the job will be conditional on you getting the visa application.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much for that question. And I'm just going to run through very fast a few questions that we have.
There's one, if you don't mind, there's one question that Janakechi, sorry if I'm butchering your name, is asking. I think it's an important one, which is, why are you people helping us out? And that's an interesting question. And to be, I think some of these questions need to be asked so that people, I believe that when people are in association to get to a purpose, it's important to understand what everybody's interest in that purpose is and what everybody's getting out of it. So as I mentioned in the beginning, Janakechi, I'm primarily an immigration lawyer, and I'm licensed only in the US. So I'm not licensed in Canada. Okay. The reason why we're helping out is that we're trying to build a Canadian immigration system for nurses. So we right now we recruit nurses to the US, but you may have heard of retrogression in the US. And so it's taking a very, very long time. I think right now it's retrogressed to about 3 years. So it's taking a very long time to bring nurses to the US. And so as an alternative to bringing people to the US, we're diverting or building another system in Canada so that people can go to Canada and work as opposed to the US to give them a different option. So that's why we're doing it, Janakechi. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, you're welcome to ask a follow-up question.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so I will skip her question and then go to read other questions in the comment section. All right, so the next question I have is from, let's see, give me 1 second. Okay, I think it's from here. Let me see. Okay, so can't they use IELTS academics for provincial nomination, provincial nominee and all? I think that question should, can you use IELTS academics? That's a type of IELTS, that people write, English testing system that people use to be able to prove that they studied in English, or that, they have the ability to communicate fluently in English. Can you throw more light to that if they use IELTS? I think I know the question.
Yeah, I think it's important for everybody on this call to understand that, the system that we're currently focused on building is for Nova Scotia. Okay. And the licensure and getting a job is strictly for Nova Scotia. Now, the express entry is a federal express entry, so it doesn't matter which province you're doing it from. But the requirements and the process will be focusing on Nova Scotia because that's what we're trying to build. In terms of the IELTS, the IELTS academic is the type of IELTS that is used for schools, to test your technical knowledge of the English language. The general IELTS is basically for any other thing if you're going to work in Canada. And so the one that is needed is the general, not the academic. If you have, however, taken the IELTS academic, you would need to contact the specific province that you're working with to see if they'll still give you a PNP with the academic, or if you need to take the general. In Nova Scotia, you do need to take the general for you to be able to qualify. But I don't know about the other provinces.
All right, thank you so much. I'm just going to run through. We're going to be very fast to see how many questions we can take. So another question is, please, what of Alberta process? So, like you said, we're just focusing on Nova Scotia for right now. Okay. Do you have 1 or 2 things to say about the Alberta process, please? sir?
Yeah, so there's a few provinces that make it easier for people to get licensed or to get the PNP. Nova Scotia is one of them. Basically, the Atlantic provinces, Prince Edward Islands, Nova Scotia, those provinces, the Atlantic provinces, though, they make it easier because they have a huge need for nurses. Alberta, although it's not an Atlantic province, also makes it easier. Saskatchewan is also one of them that is easier to get. One of the ways that you can get the information you need is just go to the College of Nursing for that specific province and their website, and you should be able to get the information that you need for that specific one. Now, if you have Nova Scotia questions, obviously we'll be more than happy to answer them, but that's where our focus is.
Okay, so I have another question that says, is it possible to get a job without being in the express entry pool? I think you've answered that question. And the next one is, how best can we fill out an express entry profile accurately? You have any answer for that, sir?
Yeah, the express entry profile is pretty straightforward. It's very, very easy, actually. The questions are not complicated. You need to have a few things lined up before you start the application process. My suggestion would be, one, to have your IELTS ready because you need that to be able to answer it. And then you also need to either figure out whether you're getting a PNP or you're getting an LMIA, job offer based on an LMIA. So once you secure all of those things, then you can begin the express entry. There's also a tool in the express entry when you go to the website that you can use to test whether or not you're qualified and how many points you can get before you actually enter the pool. I would encourage you to use that tool so that you can see how many points you can get without your job offer or your PNP, and then see how many points you can get with the job offer and the PNP. And then, you can determine whether or not you have enough to go as is, or if you need to go get the job offer.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then someone said you mentioned LMIA and PNP for express entry. The question is, do we need both or any of them?
Well, again, it's based on a point system. PNP is going to have its own points. LMIA, job offer based on LMIA, is going to have its own point. So how many points you need determines which route you're going to go. To answer your question, you don't need both. It's one or the other. If you have both, you get more points. If you have one, you get the points that is associated strictly with that one.
Okay. Thank you so much. Someone else is asking, Anichidema is asking me to accommodate them in the subsequent. It won't be necessary to have you in the meeting with the Nova Scotia Health System if you do not have at least the requirement or the criteria. There won't be need for that. But when it gets to the level, when you get to that level, we can also plan another meeting with them. Okay, so we'll have it in badges. So after this time, we'll try to see how we can get them again on board to be able to explain for the next batch of people that will be helping. Okay, if I'm able to get a job offer, is it compulsory for me to have IELTS General before immigration process or work permit? So I think he answered that question. He said the general IELTS is actually what the Nova Scotia Health System is looking for, and then that's what you're required to have. But you can contact other provinces and find out what their requirements are. So this webinar should be for everyone, not only those in license. Please. So this webinar, actually, this one we are doing now is for everyone. And if you have friends that wants to join, they should join. Okay. And another question from Victoria is that will there be support from the employer for the immigration process, or will we take care of finances ourselves? So I guess this is a question that me and Douglas might need to go back again and look at, and also talk to the Nova Scotia Health System people and see what they say. Douglas, do you have any anything to add to that question?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot take money from any of you for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that, one, I'm not licensed in Canada, and so I cannot provide immigration advice to Canada, and therefore I cannot take your money for giving you that information. Any information I give you about Canada is going to be based on general information. It's not to be considered as legal advice, and so I cannot take your money. However, with the recruitment process, part of what we're doing in developing the system is to find a way to be compensated by the employer, and so the candidate wouldn't need to pay us anything. And that's what we're still trying to figure out with the Nova Scotia Health Service. When we have the meeting on the 30th, they're going to explain their process, after which we will talk to them and then we can figure that out on the back end. But I don't anticipate taking any money from any of you.
Oh, all right, that's not our plan. Okay, so there's a question here for Amy. Amy, I guess, Amy, actually, I didn't introduce her, but Amy is the leader of this group of people transitioning to Canada. So Amy, you have a question here. It says, how can I initiate the process of express entry? I mean, step by step. So you should get in touch with Amy and then have her put you through, because I know she has a lot of information when it comes to the step-by-step guide on how you can start this process of immigrating to Canada. And another question is saying, is it possible for you to relocate to Canada within 4 months? I mean, breaking Canadian immigration with work permits within 4 months of conditional license. So is it possible for you to get to Canada within 4 months after getting your conditional license? That's what this question is asking. Mr. Douglas?
Yeah, Amy, we're gonna send you. I'm gonna send you an email. Well, I'll get your contact from Mr. Decency, and I'll send you the email after when we're done, and then you and I can get together and we can go through the process of filling out the express entry, and you can then record it or use it to show other people if you want to do that.
Okay. Okay.
In terms of the
Amy, you got that right? I think she's muted, but keep going, sir. Sorry.
Yes, yes, I got that. Hello.
Okay, yeah, that's Amy. That's Amy, just for the record.
Yes, okay, I got that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. On behalf of myself and my group members, we really are grateful for this. Thank you, Mr. Decency, and thank you, Mr. Diamond Black. Did I get the name right?
No,
Douglas. My name is Douglas.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Douglas. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Amy. We look forward to helping you through this process. In terms of the express entry, and how long it would take, the Canadian government advertises 4 months. That's what the government says, and so that timeline is not coming from me. It's not coming from anybody on YouTube. The government says that they can get you done in 4 months. Now, they do monthly draws based on the point system, and so if you have everything, you have your licensure, you have your PNP or your job offer, and you enter the express entry, they do draws on a monthly basis. So there's a high chance that they may pick your application the following month, right? And then you go through the process of immigrating. And so to answer your question, yes, and the government does advertise that, and so it's possible. How frequently does it happen? I don't know that answer. I think that there are some people who have gotten it done in 4 months. There are some people who's also taken more than 4 months.
Okay, thank you so much. I think Jenny Ketchy again is asking you to share your contact. Actually, he's not going to be able to share his contact right here. Okay, so if you need anything, just send us an email in our email address, that's Decency Staffing Solutions or Decency NCLEX Academy. If you have any questions or any inquiries or clarity that you need, we'll be able to get answers for you. Otherwise, we'll be bringing him maybe 1 or 2 times again on the session. And for those of you that are already doing the NCLEX process with us, NCLEX training, you're going to be having another session with Mr. Douglas just to answer a few questions that you have on the process, okay? So we won't be able to share contacts today, all right? But moving forward on the meeting, moving forward in your process, you will get in touch one-on-one with him. He's a very busy person, so we try to, as much as possible, keep it at people who are very, committed to the process, not just anyone coming to waste his time. And I know who he is. I know if you ask him questions, he will go all the way out to answer all the questions that you ask him. So let's try and concentrate on the people who are committed already. So someone is asking, the LMIA that one gets through PSW, can it work in the process, please? In this process, please. So can the LMIA work in the process if you get it through PSW?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where you're getting your LMIA from, as long as, you know, it's a valid LMIA, right? I mean, there's certain employers who can get the LMIA, and there's certain ones that cannot get it. And so as long as you have a valid LMIA, it doesn't matter where you get it from.
Okay. Now, the next question from Rosalind Ifeanyichukwu. My question is, what can one do about this Nova Scotia process where some of us are stuck, have applied, paid for NCLEX and VOR, yet no reply from them till now? I mean, it's tiring. Okay. So do you want to do their NCLEX now? So somebody is just trying to answer that question. But some people are in the process for a very long time. And I know that this process have a timeline. So is there anything that you can, tell some of these people that have been in the process for some time now? Mr. Douglas.
Yeah, like I said, there's two paths to getting licensed in Nova Scotia. There's the general path, which is anybody can get licensed through the NCLEX. And then there's the path for people who are licensed nurses in 7 countries. And those 7 countries are Nigeria is one of them, the US, the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and then a few other countries. If you're a registered nurse in one of those countries, there's a very, very short path for you to get it. If you're not licensed in one of those countries that I just mentioned, there's a general path. The general path takes a very, very long time. And the reason they created the second path is to shorten the application process, because those 7 countries, people from those 7 countries apply the most for license in that province. That's why they created that process. So if you're on the short path and you've applied and you're not hearing anything back, you could shoot us an email. I'll be happy to follow up with the Nova Scotia College of Nursing on your behalf, and then see where your application is if you're on the second path. Now, if you're in the general path, unfortunately, there's not much I can do, because that path is not a priority and it's on a first come, first served basis. And so if you're on the general path, you may have to wait. But if you're on one of these 7 expedited paths, shoot us an email and we'll be happy to follow up for you.
All right, thank you so much. I don't even know how we got into that 7-country list. It's so amazing, and it's a very, very, very big opportunity for those of you that are Nigerians and trying to transition to Canada. I think you should take that opportunity, because you see the countries that Nigerians were mentioned alongside with, they are countries of good repute. I know Nigeria is a country of good repute, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying that we stand the best chance to get into Canada out of all those countries that I mentioned, because these countries are, what is considered developed countries. It would be difficult for people to actually migrate from this country, like moving from, developed country to another. But most people will move from Nigeria to this, through this Canadian route to Canada. So that's what I'm trying to explain there. So it's a very big opportunity that I think everyone who has that ability to do it should do it now. And one thing again I want to advise is, when your mates are doing something, don't go looking for, things that would, distract people, always on the negative, extinguishing people's vision, trying to, bring them down or tell them that it's never going to work. Please don't do that. If you cannot do it, just don't talk about it, because I know a lot of people go out there on Facebook, on social media, and they say a lot that they don't even know anything about. I know even coming to the US, a lot of people who are here in the US do not know the process of getting someone into the US. I know so many people that have been here 18, 16 years ago, and then the process by which they follow to come here by then is no longer even they don't use them anymore. So they can't even advise you. So know who you take some of these advices from. All right. So that's just what I want to say to that. And my next question, someone is saying, is it possible to transfer your conditional license from NSCN to Ontario without NCLEX and through NSCN? This should be like a nursing question. Here in the US, is actually done like an endorsement. Before you go into another province or into another state, you have to do what is called endorsement. And when you start the endorsement process, that state that you're transferring to is going to tell you what the requirements are for you to be able to endorse in their state. So I don't know if this question, answers what, Mr. Douglas, I know you're vast in everything. Do you have anything to say to this question?
I think that, and this might be something that you want to verify, but like you said, in the US is based on endorsement. I think in Canada, you can apply to the College of Nursing of the other state, and some states have reciprocal agreements where the license is transferred. But again, this is a nursing question, like you said, and you have to check with the College of Nursing. of that specific province.
All right. So one last question, because I know the time that Mr. Douglas has is limited, so we won't be taking so much question today. And Amy has a question. Let me go to Amy's question. Let me see. Amy, can you okay, you can unmute yourself, right? Can you explain more about your question? Because you said something about pool. I want you to explain more about this question. I guess it's the question that lots of you have also. So can you unmute yourself and ask the question, please?
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Decency and Mr. Douglas. So most of us, most of the members, actually, they want to know if as a matter of or if it's mandatory, they enter the express entry pool before getting a job offer. Some people have the opinion that, oh, okay, you must compulsorily enter the pool before even getting a job offer. And from what I've read on the net, the little I've researched on, you can actually wait to get a job offer from a Nova Scotian employer. Then they can issue a work permit, and with that, you can actually process your visa and travel to Canada. Then continue and start your PR process. But now some people are now saying that you have to actually enter the pool. So is that what is obtainable generally? Because I know that we have the Atlantic Immigration Program, we have the Provincial Nomination Program, and then the Federal Skilled Worker. So I know, and then there's LMIA. So if your employers can actually issue the work permit, I believe that you don't need or necessarily need to enter the pool. Or you can, because all of these pathways that I mentioned can actually lead to PR as well, without necessarily entering the pool. So I just want a clarification for everyone, because that's most of the concerns. A lot of people are concerned. They want to be clear on what is obtainable or what they're supposed to do. But some people are so scared of IELTS general, writing IELTS, and like, oh, okay, so I'm going to have to write IELTS, or I don't have the money to start my credential evaluation and all of that. So we just want to know what is obtainable or what we are supposed to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So all those pathways that you mentioned, and I prefer to call them pathways as opposed to programs. And they're pathways because they both lead to different end results. Now, it's important to know that the express entry pool gives you a PR, a permanent residency. So does the AIP, the Atlantic Immigration Program. Different requirements and different qualifications. So if you're applying to Nova Scotia, you don't necessarily need to be in the express entry pool because the employer.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I said my thoughts exactly like that's what I know. I read so much about it, and that was what I got. And but a lot of people are like, yeah, you have to enter the express entry pool. And I'm like, no, you don't have to. Like, there are other programs like that specific to each province that you can actually enter and then get start processing your PR through those pathways, and not necessarily the entry pool.
Yeah, I think you're right. The immigration process in Canada is interesting because the federal government has given the power to the various provinces to designate or to create their own immigration pathways to allow people to immigrate to that specific province. And so the AIP is a coalition of 4 different provinces, the Atlantic provinces, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and then there's one other one that I forget. But there's four provinces in that pathway. And what you need to do for that one is, first of all, you get licensed. You get licensed in any one of those provinces. And then the employer would issue you a job offer along with an employment authorization, and then you can apply, get into the AIP program to get to Canada. So if you're going through the AIP pathway, you don't necessarily need to get into the express entry to get to Canada. And so, like I said, they're not programs; they're all pathways, and each pathway leads to different end results. And so there are certain, for example, on LMIA. All it is just a job offer, a work authorization. It doesn't give you a PR, right? It doesn't give you permanent residency. And so it depends on what it is that you're trying to accomplish and how you want to get there.
Thank you so much. Emmy, does that question, is that question does that answer, does it answer your question?
Yes, yes. To a large extent, yes.
Okay. All right. So I have another question. Someone said, Mr. Douglas, I know we have another Zoom meeting after now, so I'm trying as much as possible to make sure we end on the clock, okay? So, and at the same time, I still don't want to make miss any very important questions. So if I missed your question, sorry about it. I'll just, like, most of those questions are similar, so I just choose the question, one of those questions that look like what other people are asking, and then we go with that. I think for now we have answered virtually everything, you know, on the program. So if someone is asking if my conditional license is from Atlantic Province, can I start my PR, permanent residency journey under AIP after getting a job?
Yeah, you can. I mean, the AIP is the Atlantic Immigration Program, right? So that if you get your license from any of those programs, I think somebody answered the fourth province is New Brunswick, and thanks for that. But yeah, if you get your license from any one of those, you're eligible for the program. And if you have to remember that the employer has to be a designated employer under the AIP program. And certainly Nova Scotia Health Service is the health service for the entire province. And so they're definitely designated. But if you're from any one of those other three provinces, you'd have to check to make sure that the employer is a designated employer under the AIP to be able to get you what you're looking to do.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Douglas. I just want you to give a final word for this our nurses. You know, they've actually been, you know, it's just like I remember in 2016, I was in the same place. There was no or little or no information about how to immigrate to the US. As big as US is, there was no information anywhere. And we were all like in a dark place looking for information. And you know, I got anything I got, I poured it out on the group that I had. And that's the same thing that Emmy is doing to these people. And then I feel bad because most of them are being lured into believing other things that they see on the social media or on YouTube and everything. So just a final word for them, just to, you know, make sure that they keep their focus on their goal until they get to the desired results.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Emmy.
Please, I'm sorry for cutting in. I for the past few weeks, you know, you mentioned social media and also there are YouTubers that keep coming out showing various information that I feel are grossly misleading, and sometimes they just say don't bother getting a conditional license or paying for the conditional license and a host of other information. And some of my members, they come with, you know, with so much concerns and fear, and it's going to get under their skin because, you know, there's delay. Nova Scotia has not really been proactive as we thought they would. So a lot of people have not really gotten response. And with this social media, should I call it misinformation that is making rounds? I don't know. Is the whole thing a scam or a sham? Because now they are saying that why would you even think of getting conditional license when you are not in Canada? Some of them are saying that if you so far you're in Nigeria, it's practically impossible for you to get a job offer that before you could migrate to Canada. And I'm like, that's not possible because this is a whole province in Canada offering this thing, making you have a soft landing, that it's not possible that they now come up with a way to scam people of their money. That this is real, is legit, and we are certainly going to get job offers from Nigeria. So I would like that you add or let's know what is actually happening. Like, because I just, since a lot of my members are here, okay, not a lot, but a good number of them, and this video is going to be shared. So let's hear from you. Like, is this a sham like some people are claiming it is?
Yeah, you know, I think that there's a general fear of people people of African descent or people who are from Africa, there's a general fear whenever somebody presents information to you. There's some sort of a fear that it may be a scam, and maybe that is well founded based on prior experiences. But for me, whenever somebody offers you information, the first thing that you have to ask yourself is, where is the source of this information, right? Or is this person getting this information from? And then the next question after that is that, can you verify independently that information that this person is offering you? Okay. So it requires some homework on your part, not just take the information and consume it. It requires some proactivity and you actually doing the homework. So if I came to you and I said, hey, Nova Scotia I can get you a national license in Nova Scotia in 2 days. So give me $5,000 and I'll get it to you. Well, if you give me $5,000, I mean, you'd be very foolish because first of all, I don't work for the Nova Scotia College of Nursing. And so, how am I going to do that? And even if I'm able to do that, would the license be legitimate? One, I don't work for them. And so if I got it to you, it's either that I got it through illegitimate means, which may cause problems for you later down the road, or it may be fake altogether, right? And so it's always important to ask yourself, where is this person getting that information from? And how, how can you independently verify that information? In terms of every information that I'm giving you today is coming from two sources. One from the Nova Scotia College of Nursing, and then the second one is the Nova Scotia Health Service. And you can independently go onto their website and find this information there. The conditional license, as you mentioned it, the reason they give conditional licenses is for people who have not taken and passed the NCLEX. So they give you the conditional license so that you can get a job offer to immigrate to Canada and be able to take the NCLEX while you're in Canada. There are nurses in Canada who are working with conditional licenses. Okay, having a conditional license means that you're working under the supervision of somebody who has an unrestricted license. Okay, and so it's not impossible to get to Canada with a conditional license. If it were, the province would not be offering it. And I can guarantee you, the Nova Scotia province is not out to get a couple $100s from Africans. I mean, that's not what they're in business for. No. They need nurses. Right. They've created a pathway for you to get licensed, and you just have to follow that pathway. And so if somebody is on social media giving you information, you have to ask yourself, where is this person getting that information from, and whether you can independently verify the information. I mean, that's the only way you protect yourself. But if you're just, accepting the information as is and acting on it, then part of the fault is also on you because you haven't done your homework, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, every. Yeah, nobody's a genius, I mean, this information is not rocket science.
Sorry, Mr. Douglas, can you unmute yourself, please? Sorry, we had a.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What I'm saying is that this information that we're giving, it's all on the website of these various institutions, and you can go on these institutions and verify it. I mean, even better, they have their email addresses that you can email them and somebody will respond to your email, or you can call them. And somebody would answer your calls. And so that is what I would have to say about that. The conditional license is not a scam. It's not that they're not looking to steal your money or to scam you out of your money. If you follow the process and you get it, you can go to Canada. I mean, I know people who have gone to Canada and taken the NCLEX in Canada based on the conditional license. So it's definitely possible.
All right, thank you so much. All right, guys, it's that time of the day when we have to say goodbye. I know everybody wants us to stay longer. Our meetings, I've had meetings with you guys. It's always a very long meeting. But for today, we are going to stop here. I just want you to use this opportunity and appreciate our guests. His name is Mr. Douglas. He's been a very, 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 very a great personality, very, very instrumental to helping a lot of nurses come here. And then also, very, very good with giving you advice. He goes all out. So thank you so much, Mr. Douglas, for being in the program and talking to us. I know we have to talk to some other person on Zoom, so I'm trying to make opportunity so we don't go in so late. All right, so
yeah,
thank
guys,
you
just remember, all of us came here through the same dreams that you have. I came to the US in 2010, right? I came here for school, as an F1 visa, like I said in the beginning. Mr. Decency was also born in Nigeria, and he immigrated here as a nurse, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, sure.
There's several people, whether you want to come to the US or Canada, there are several people that have gone through the exact same process that you're going through. When I went through the process of applying for the F1 visa, there was no lawyer involved, right? All the information and the resources that I needed, I got from the website, the school's website, the USCIS website, and the CVS record website. You can do the exact same thing. You do not need to go pay any connection person or somebody to get you ahead of the queue. You're going to scam yourself. You're going to lose money. Don't lose hope. Take your time. Look for the information out there. It's all there. You don't need to pay anybody for information. Go on the website. I mean, everybody has internet because you're joining, or we're doing this thing virtually, so you definitely have internet. Use it as a resource to get the information you need, and use that information to get you to your end goal. We're living testimony that this thing that you want to do is achievable. So it's not impossible, right? You just have to be willing to do the work. So do the work, and I wish you guys all the best of luck. We have a meeting with the Nova Scotia Health Province on the 30th of August. I hope that everybody who is licensed in Nova Scotia would attend that meeting, because the CEO and the director of recruiting for the province is going to be on there, and they can share some more information than we can share.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I want to appreciate everyone that was here on the program. Thank you so much, all. Great. I will see you all next week, Wednesday. Okay? Keep a date with us. Bye. Thank you, Mr. Douglas. Thank you, Emmy.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank
Amy.
you. God bless
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
you. God bless.